आज कोवैक्सीन की सप्लाई तो उन्होंने मना कर ही दिया। हमारे पास में जितने भी रिजर्व था, जितना भी स्टॉक आया था, वो खत्म हो गया है।
करीबन 3 लाख डोसेस उपलब्ध है, वो हम अभी पूरा स्टॉप करके 45 साल के जो सेकेंड डोज है उसके लिए यूज करने का आदेश स्वास्थ्य विभाग ने महाराष्ट्र के सभी सेंटर्स को दिया है।
जो आईसीएमआर है जिसके पास ये फॉर्मूला है, जो लाइसेंस है, ये आईसीएमआर कुछ फर्म्स के साथ बातचीत कर रही है कि आप चाहें तो आप हमसे ये फॉर्मूला लें, आप बनाएं।
Hello everyone, good evening. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. As the second wave tightens its grip across the country, the only shield or arsenal in our arsenal is vaccine. But the vaccination drive has slowed down because of shortage of vaccine, which is being reported from all states across the country. In fact, several states have said it clearly and categorically that the third phase of vaccine drive, which began mere like a tokenism or symbolism, had to be put to stop because of shortage of vaccine. The vaccine drive has hit a roadblock, with many states saying they don't have enough jabs to inoculate those in the 18 to 44 age group, turning their focus on delivering the second dose to those above the age of 45. The center has put the onus of procurement and distribution on the states, but the opposition has blamed the center of leaving them high and dry amidst the surge, as the two vaccine manufacturers, Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute, struggle to meet this demand. Now, two solutions are emerging. Many states are now eyeing foreign supplies by floating global tenders, even appealing to the center to ramp up production by sharing vaccine formulas with other manufacturers. But when will we see the real result on the ground? Will the vaccine drive be caught in politics, or will the authorities get their acts together? We gave the world these jabs. It is unacceptable that we do not have it for our own citizens. Joining me first on the show is the Member of Parliament of the Shiv Sena, Priyanka Chaturvedi. Ms. Chaturvedi, I appreciate your time here on News Epicenter. Maharashtra Health Minister has said that the vaccination drive for the age group of 18 to 44 has to be halted because of the vaccine shortage, and the amount that they have would be used rather for administering the second dose to the very important category of 45 plus who were seen to be vulnerable. The question is, when is the drive likely to resume?
That is a question perhaps you should be asking the center, not asking the state government on when will this resume, simply because at this point in time, and if you go by the response that the Solicitor General has given to the Supreme Court, that despite they allowing state governments to procure their own jabs and vaccines, it is still being quota driven by the center. The center is deciding the quota allocation for every state on the basis of their requirements. So now the center, while it has put its hands off saying that you all will go buy, procure it, they're also deciding how much will be given to every single state. This is not my words. This is what has been written to the Supreme Court. So as far as we are concerned, emergency use approvals were given a month ago. We still haven't seen a single vaccine which are being used overseas come into India. We haven't yet seen any of the manufacturers giving a commitment to the state governments of being able to deliver the vaccines that they need. Third, we are seeing a center which is not even pulling in the compulsory licensing act to be able to ramp up production. So we are in a situation where we are all ultimately dependent on the center, and the center has put its hands up saying that there's nothing much that they can do. There's no one answerable, no one accountable. So it is very unfortunate, and Maharashtra government has continued to raise this. We have a population between 18 to 44. Half of our population is between 18 to 44. But unfortunately, the vaccines that we are demanding is not available to us.
You know, the center says that the states wanted the entire policy liberalized. That's what they did. The states wanted to become a stakeholder in the entire vaccination drive. You have been made a stakeholder, then why complain?
This is such a silly excuse coming from the center. It's exactly like how the interview from the BMC commissioner, one single statement was used by the entire cabinet ministers and all those people who wanted to project that there's great center-state coordination. So I'll just want to say one thing here. As far as the center is concerned, what was being asked of the center? What was expected of the center? That you would have ensured that there's enough stockpiles to be able to cater to all the states because you were controlling the vaccines. What was the state asking you? The state was asking you for more vaccines and to ensure that either we are ramping up our production, B, that we also give emergency use approvals to vaccines from overseas. Unfortunately, we had a central government which was more interested in its foreign diplomacy, vaccine might be, and handing over our vaccines to countries which are seeing lesser impact of COVID as compared to to India and vaccinating less of our people. Now what they have done is they have put the onus on the state government, but again, the onus is still not complete. The onus is still being managed, stage managed by the center. They will continue to decide what the quota of allocation, even if we approach the manufacturing companies are concerned. Even the global tenders that we have floated, I would really want to know which global company would want to adhere to whatever the state governments are asking till the time they don't have a central approval. We are under an Indian Epidemic Act, we are under Essential Commodity Act, we are under Disaster Management Act. I would want to understand from the central government how are they, facilitating the arrival of these vaccines for the state governments who floated a global tender.
Ma'am, I want to understand. We are seeing Karnataka, Delhi, Uttarakhand, Tamil Nadu, all of them are saying that they will be procuring vaccines now through global tender. Is that something that Maharashtra is also doing, and how will this global tender work? Does it mean that vaccines which have got emergency use authorization like Sputnik V and others can be procured from outside, because you realize that as far as SII, Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech in India are concerned, their production is not enough to meet the demand of these states?
So we are also very clear. Maharashtra was amongst the first states which said that we will procure vaccines from overseas if we need to ensure that vaccination does not come to a halt. We were at a point where we were vaccinating over 5 lakh people a day, and we could have vaccinated over 1 million a day if need be. However, it came to a full stop because you have a center which did not have any stock of vaccines. So we have also spoken about, the global tender, and the BMC yesterday announced, the Mumbai Municipal Commission announced that we'll float a global tender. But my questions are, while the state governments are doing all its best to be able to vaccinate its population, we are also in talks with Sputnik to ensure that we get some vaccines from them. But however, there is again no clarity coming from the center to assure the states that they will be enablers and facilitators. Right now, all they're doing is blocking every process, every procedure. That is extremely unfortunate. So the clarity till the manufacturers overseas do not have from the center, till there is no clarity coming for the state governments in terms of procurement, there is going to be a space where we are totally logjammed trying to understand how to get out of it. They have to play the role of facilitators and enablers, not ones who are blocking everything.
Okay, ma'am. BJP is also alleging, this is surely based on what has happened in the Bombay High Court, that Bharat Biotech had to approach Bombay High Court to solve their issue with the Maharashtra government for manufacturing vaccines in Pune that had to do with manufacturing. At a time when the states are demanding that there has to be technology transfer to other vaccine manufacturers, why is Maharashtra government doing this?
Ma'am, I'd request you to follow lesser of these troll accounts to get the true picture of what is really happening in Maharashtra, because that is not the case. We cannot push private companies.
That was put out by by Live Law.
Ma'am, Live Law, what Live Law was put across was not against state government of Maharashtra. It was against a pharmaceutical company which was not giving them permissions. It has nothing to do with the state government of Maharashtra. Let me also tell you that the state government of Maharashtra, the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, has gone on record to say that we will allot a land in Pune to Bharat Biotech to be able to set up a plant which will enable vaccine manufacturing. Let's also not forget, Maharashtra government is the first government which has put in 150 crores in Hapkin Institute to help Bharat Biotech to be able to produce vaccines on a larger scale. We have put in the funds, we are putting in money for research and expansion. So all these troll accounts who continue talking about it and accuse the state government, you just take a screenshot of what Live Law has put in. Live Law has not accused the Maharashtra government. Bharat Biotech has gone against a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
Again, Maharashtra government has always been an enabler and facilitator. Maharashtra government, unlike the central government, does not believe in absolute control, which chokes and which takes our people in a position where they feel unsafe, insecure, and in a position of need.
Okay. Last question to you, and this is coming from the statement that has been made by Suchitra Ella, Joint MD of Bharat Biotech. She is saying that she is very disheartened that some states are complaining about the company's intention at a time when the company was trying to churn out vaccines despite manpower and lockdown challenges, and that dispatch of vaccines have been sent to 18 states including Maharashtra. How do you look at her statement?
No, I don't know what her statement is and in what context is her statement made. As far as we are concerned, we have facilitated the availability of Covaxin. We are facing a shortage of Covaxin. We had procured 2.5 lakh doses of Covaxin as a state, which we are now using only to ensure that those who had taken Covaxin get their second dose. And we have put on hold the 18 to 44 age group only because of the unavailability of Covaxin at this current point in time in Maharashtra. I don't know what her statement is and in what context has she made it. Maybe it could be a reference to other states, but it's not. It definitely has nothing to do with Maharashtra.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, and I must congratulate you, Priyanka Chaturvedi, for all the effort that you have put in with all the individual calls that have been made to you for help of people, and you have been very, very fast in responding to that. Thank you so much for your call, for joining us on this show. Let me bring in my next newsmaker. Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister C.N. Ashwath Narayan is joining me now. Mr. Narayan, you have placed an order with Serum Institute and Bharat Biotech for procuring 3 crore vaccines. Simultaneously, you have said that there will be a global tender for procuring 2 crore vaccines. Is it because these 2 vaccine manufacturers in India have said that they will not be able to supply as per the demand of the state of Karnataka?
See, basically, we will be requiring 6.5 crore vaccines for the people between the age of 18 to 44. Since already we have placed order for 3 crore vaccines, the additional requirement what we require for the remaining 3.5 crore, we are looking at additional mobilization of 2 crore more vaccines. The people are in a hurry to get vaccinated. So in this direction, if we are able to get additionally alternate resource, we are looking at any alternate resource by calling the global tender, whichever is been approved by the ICMR, we are willing to procure those vaccines, and then should people get the vaccination done, since we have a huge infrastructure which can be done in very fast manner. And parallelly, the private players also trying to procure the vaccine from different sources, open market. What is been done by the private players, why it can't be done by the government? So we are looking at this option to talk to and resource from the private players or from the open market.
Mr. Ashwath Narayan, there is this 50-50 formula which many states are saying has led to this confusion, because the entire transportation and other bottlenecks have emerged. Do you think this decentralization or liberalization of this entire policy has added to that confusion of what the states will be doing, how will they be procuring? If they are able to procure and place the order, then how will the vaccines be transported?
No. One thing is, this is quota system. See, if everything is allowed to the open market, if the government had to cater to the requirement of the people, then it becomes very difficult. So in this direction, it is not just open only for the private players. The quota restriction should be allocated and provided for the governments also. This is a very good decision, allowing the private players as well as the government. Parallelly, whoever can cater to the requirement of the people, they are most welcome to do it. So this is a good decision. Along with this, it's a global, it's a open space is available. We are trying to source from outside also. This quota restriction for the good price, subsidized price, concessional price, and very good pricing is been given to the government also. We are taking advantage of that and ensure that our state government, we are providing the vaccination free of cost to all the people, irrespective of poor, rich, anybody can come forward and we are willing to provide the vaccination in our facilities.
Dr. Ashwath Narayan, this specific point about vaccinating this very important group, which is almost being seen as the driver of the second wave. This is the group which is driving this entire surge that is visible in the second wave across the country. Why do you think the entire vaccination drive has slowed down, and why is there lack of preparation as far as this vaccination phase is concerned? You know, we had a great start when the entire drive began on 16th of January. Why has the overall vaccination numbers come down so drastically?
See, initially when the vaccination started, after the first wave, since there was no COVID, the people took it for granted, again they are not going to get COVID, unless why we need to take vaccine. Forcibly, we have to reach out to everybody, get vaccinated, go vaccinate. We are reaching out to people, get vaccinated. So many of the times, you know, there was even in the media, it was carried that people have been forcibly they've been forced to take vaccination. See, when the second wave came up, the people started asking, the demand for the vaccine increased drastically. So everybody wants vaccine at the same day, same given time, everybody wants to get vaccine. There is a huge demand, so it cannot be done in a day or two. It requires its own time and space. If you compare across the world, even the number of people vaccinated, if you compare even with the United States, the number of people vaccinated in our country is much more higher than those countries. If we look at this population, the numbers, it takes its own time, but we are trying to do our best to ramp up. Probably in a month or two, the number of vaccines manufactured in our own country, it will be more than 20 crore vaccines. Doses will be manufactured each month. So it is effectively going to address the demand and supply. Everything will be very effectively managed and ensure our requirement will be catered.
You know, many states are saying, and these are largely opposition rule states, are saying that they have been left high and dry. That yes, they wanted the entire policy to be liberalized, but that came at a time when they were not even told that they have to procure directly with the vaccine manufacturers. Should there have been greater clarity between the center and the state governments when this entire 50-50 formula was announced? Should the states have been informed in advance that they have to approach the vaccine manufacturers directly and procure vaccines?
I don't think so. See, vaccine manufacturing, each vaccine has got its own shelf life, and as and when it is manufactured, it needs to be consumed. See, in one given day, we can't vaccinate everybody. So it has to happen in a staggered manner. So way forward, this has to be happen in few months. It will happen, and will ensure this should go on instead of waiting only for the third wave or anything like that. The space between the second wave and third will be less. So we need to ensure the vaccination should go on, and we are going to scale it up in a few months. It is going to get scaled up, and big numbers, the vaccines will be available. Whoever wants vaccine, definitely all the people will be provided vaccine. Most of the states are providing the vaccine free of cost. Probably this is a way forward, and we'll be able to effectively cater to the requirement of all the Indians.
Since you are among the states which have gone in for this global tender, give us clarity, what all does this global tender involve? What will be the nature of vaccines that will be coming in Karnataka because of this tender?
Yeah, definitely. Even the Covishield is manufactured in different countries. Even then come and participate. Even the Sputnik, many players. See, many other people which is not approved by the ICMR, they can get it approved, they can try, they can access, they can participate. It is open, whichever is suitable, whichever is acceptable for our country, we are willing to procure that. So we wanted to close the door anywhere. So anywhere, any option is there, any open market access is there. This is the way forward, this is a solution. Along with already whatever orders we have placed, along with this, additionally, we are trying to procure more vaccines, and there's a huge demand, and we are trying to cater it as early as possible.
All right, Dr. Ashwath Narayan, I appreciate your time here on News Epicenter. Let me bring in my other guests on the show now. Professor Dr. J.A. Jayalal is the president of IMA. We are also being joined by Professor Y.K. Gupta. He is the member National Experts Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19, that is NEG-VAC. Dr. Jayalal, I'm coming to you first. You heard the two states, one a BJP ruled state, a member of the other, Maharashtra, which is the Shiv Sena NCP Congress ruled state. My question is there a lot of confusion in this, all the confusion that is there regarding the vaccination policy? What are the solutions that will help people get the vaccine? They really do not care which state they are in. They want the vaccines. That's not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. I am so happy to have the optimistic view expressed by the concerned states. But in the ground reality, the time is the essential ingredient for this. And we need to reach out to all the people before at least the third wave is going to set in. So the time is very short. So we need to work from all these cylinders to get as much as possible vaccination. The option in front of us here, one is this in the open market, the newer vaccine, the bidders, bidder vaccine companies should be allowed to come into India very quickly. And see now, look back to the Sputnik. Almost 30 days back, we are given the permission, but still we are not to start that vaccination to come on the process. So that process time should be reduced. So since we are working in a very pandemic period, and that will be just a week time or 1 week time, the vaccine, whichever we are giving permission, must be available to our country. Second, we must work on the indigenous production from multiple sources of the vaccine production units in country. Especially in Tamil Nadu, we have a big unit where they have to say the capacity is nearly 580 million vaccine they can produce. So this transfer of technology and indigenous technology from the biotech shall be transferred to other vaccine producing companies so that we can ramp up our production itself. Anything better
Dr.
is
why is everything appearing to be an afterthought? We had a period of 8 months. Don't you think this concern that there are only 2 vaccines that are there in India and rest all are yet to get the emergency use authorization, all that should have been streamlined in the period that we have? That even when we began the vaccination drive on 16th, the nationwide vaccination drive, yes, the priority was right for the frontline workers or of the caregivers. But then thereafter, when the second wave struck us the manner in which it has, and also the fact is that the third wave is inevitable, we seem to be not prepared. We are really not prepared, and if anything, most states are turning overseas to look for vaccines. They have gone in for global tender.
Absolutely, that is the problem. See, when the Honorable Prime Minister himself is saying that from May 1st onwards, all the people above 18 shall be vaccinated. But what the bureaucracy has done, they have not worked any means to get it done. So this afterthought, at least now, and let them come out and say that what is their plan in front. The hiding the fact, hiding the policy, and only fighting in the Supreme Court is not going to be the solution. It's unfortunate. The decision which has to be taken by the bureaucrats and technocrats is now being taken in the Supreme Court, and that is not going to solve the issue. And we need to work, and we need to come out and say that these are the vaccine available.
Professor Gupta, respond to this. The Supreme Court has asked specific question on the vaccine policy. Center has been
what the government
let
says
the executive decide it because of the difficult times that we are living in. But Professor Gupta, if the fact is that several states have gone in for global tender, they realize that the 2 vaccine manufacturers are not able to meet the demand that they have, then what can these states do?
See, this is a state of what you can call as a emergent need, and we have 2 manufacturers.
Yes.
We know it, Bharat Biotech and the other one, and see, the both production combined will not be able to meet immediate requirement. And the intent is that everybody who is eligible for vaccination should get the vaccination as fast as possible. This cannot happen because of the supply and availability and the requirement, and therefore the government has very rightly decided about the priority that healthcare professional, the frontline worker, then the more vulnerable 65 plus, and then 18 plus, and now the numbers are much. Initially, there was vaccine hesitancy. Now the vaccine acceptability, fortunately, and therefore,
But Professor
the
Gupta, my
government
question is, sir, that the government went ahead and announced it because that was the demand of multiple states, that the overall eligibility criteria must be lowered. But where are the vaccines to vaccinate this population?
vaccines, see, there are two important things. One is that the both units have been asked to increase the production. They are doing it. Number three, the third
Okay.
vaccine is Sputnik. We will get soon the consignment of Sputnik. And number four, that many couple of the organization institutions, laboratories have been asked to ramp up all the infrastructure to start manufacturing of vaccines, which may take few months, maybe 6 months or 7 months. And with the transfer technology from Bharat Biotech and maybe from Serum Institute, now in the meantime, if there is a global tendering can take place, there is no harm.
But do we really have that much time, Professor Gupta? You're talking about 6 months. We are racing against time. I mean, there are
You see, if I say ideal situation, 100% ideal situation, everybody should get vaccination by tomorrow. But let us see the logistic. If there is a country like
Yes.
133 billion population which has to be vaccinated, we have to decide on the priority. And then we have to develop the strategy
Okay.
by which you can get that the most vulnerable people first and then less vulnerable people next, and ramp up all the possible mechanism by which you can increase the number of jabs.
All right. All right. Professor Gupta, appreciate your time. Dr. Jailal, thank you so much for your time. That's all from me. The vaccine question and the politics around it will remain. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.